Okay, when we first started off our course, we said that we would delve into two basic notions, two spatial locations, namely container and surfaces, right? And the reason why we said we would do that is that containers, such as a room, are made up of walls, floor and ceiling surfaces. So there is a very interesting correlation between the container and what the container is made up of, basically surfaces, right? In the episodes we have covered so far, we have devoted our attention to how we can derive metaphorical expressions out of literal expressions related to the notion of containment or container. From now on, we will focus on the other spatial dimension, more specifically on, off in relation to surfaces, right? So the first point that we're going to make is that on and off have literal meanings. Okay, when an object is on a surface, is in contact with that surface, so we can think of expressions like on the desk, on the floor, on the wall, on the ceiling, on the table. When the element is off the surface, the palm of my hand, for instance, we are going to say that the language will construct this picture as the expression of detachment. So on means contact and off means detachment. These are the literal meanings implied by the particles in question. So these are very important notions, very important literal notions, contact and detachment, given that we will derive, of course, metaphorical notions from these literal, tangible expressions. So let us start with the first metaphorical entailment of on and off. We will now discuss the metaphorical extensions of particle on, and we will illustrate our point, that is the first entailment, by means of resorting to the following examples. Let us take the literal expression to put on a coat, which means basically that we put an outfit on the surface of our bodies. That is basically the literal meaning of on meaning contact. But we can also say that a person puts on an attitude, that the person is behaving in some deceitful or fake way or fashion, that it is not the real person, but is pretending to be somebody else. We can probably paint the following picture. It is as if the person was wearing some sort of disguise or costume, right? And the costume or disguise in question would be the attitude that the person is putting on. That is why we can also say that that's put on, where that makes reference to the basically the attitude that the person is putting on. The next metaphorical entailment that we will discuss is related to the expression on holiday. We have discovered that there are a lot of expressions like on holiday, on duty, on call, on leave of absence, on demand, which make reference to the fact that the person is in a certain state. So to us, on holiday means holidaying. On duty means working. On leave means not working. Now at this stage, we might be wondering how come that the durative progressive particle on is related to the ing form, which is typically used for activities like playing, jogging, eating, reading, etc., right? Well, this should come as no surprise, given that in English there are some body positions that are also realized by means of the ing form, that is, by means of the inflection that marks the progressive aspect, namely sitting, standing, leaning, and lying. Therefore, we can conclude that the ing form in English makes reference both to the progress of an activity or the duration of a state. So in the end, ing or on make reference to the fact that the action or state has duration. So we will now exemplify that in the following slide.
To be on holiday or holidaying. To be on duty, working. To be on demand, being required.
As usual, we will discuss entailments. From the literal on the platform, we move on to the abstract on my mind, on my head, I have a lot on my head, meaning I have a lot of problems, to the second abstract notion, that's put on, the one that we discussed before, and last but not least, durative on, in relation to expressions such as to be on holiday, to be on duty, to be on call. And in this episode there is a bonus. We typically say we are on a train, on a bus, on a ferry, on a ship, but in a car, in a taxi. The reason why we say on public transport or public vehicles, but in a car or in a taxi, is that the car and the taxi will function as containers that will constrain our movement. That is, we cannot walk around in a car, we are constrained. We cannot move our bodies, we cannot walk around. However, when we are on a train, on a bus, on a ship, on a plane, we can move, and that makes reference to the fact that there is a surface. On our next episode, we will discuss particle of.
There are too many books on the shelf, he'll break up. He's standing on the platform. I have a lot on my head right now, I need a break. He's on holiday.